Alright, so some of y'all probably saw the Beru versus Meruem video we dropped last week. And after we wrapped that up, we could not help but ask ourselves, what if Netero decided to solo the Jeju Island?
Yeah, this one's definitely a bit trickier. The last video felt pretty straightforward with how the fight would go.
Or at least we thought until we saw the comments.
But this scenario, it's way more complicated. Honestly, it can go either way. But before we break down the battle, let's set the scene properly.
So here's the setup. We're imagining Netero as the head of the Japanese Hunters Association, and is tasked with leading the raid into Jeju Island. But at this time, Netero himself decides to go all in. No backup from a whole strike team, no special tactics from the Korean hunters, just him.
And to be clear, we're talking about old man Netero here, the same dude who trained himself into a monster of pure speed and power. We're about to break down his abilities and see if the man with the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva can actually pull this off.
So with that in mind, let's dive into this crossover and see what would actually happen if Netero were to take on the Jeju Island raid. Let's get into it. Isaac Netero, chairman of the Hunter Association, former strongest nen user alive, and grandmaster of the Shinjin Ryo Dojo. He's over 120 years old and far past his prime. But how strong is he really?
To keep it fair, we need to make two assumptions. Number one, he hears about the raid and has some time to train and get back into shape, just like for the Chimera Ant arc. Number two, Beru will only show up after the queen is dead if she dies.
So let's start with speed. If there's one thing this man has, it's speed. Dude trained by walking up a big ass mountain punching 10,000 times a day. First time it took him 18 hours, but this man got faster each time. And after years of grinding, he came down with punches faster than sound, and too fast to be seen by the human eye. We're talking about something around Mach 50.
But here's the crazy part. This was just him throwing normal punches. Once he starts using the 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva, his speed is boosted. Those hands were moving fast enough that even Meruem, a dude with insane reaction speed, had trouble dealing with them. And Pito, who could dodge bullets at point-blank range and damn near react to anything, was straight up blitzed by Netero's hands. So no question, this man is fast.
And here's the thing. Netero was moving way faster than anything on Jeju Island, disregarding Beru. Regular ants are straight up getting blitzed, and even the queen ant catching hands, he's fast. Netero's speed is literally what lets him fight above his weight class. Now, let's talk about his power.
Netero is one of two ultimate level enhancers, meaning that when he hits, he hits. For reference, Ubugin's punches were compared to missiles, and he was only a genius level enhancer. Meanwhile, Adult Gon, the only other ultimate level enhancer, punched Pito into a whole new life decision. So what can Netero's punches do? To understand this, we need to know how strong is a basic nin punch. So if we use nin logic, a basic code punch from a skilled nin user could kill a normal human instantaneously, even at the lowest power levels. Now, Netero's ko is so much greater that this would be like comparing a punch from your elementary school, probably pedophilic PE teacher, to Iron Mike Tyson.
His ko would be on some one-shotting pro hunters type shit. His punches could crush concrete, steel, break boulders, leave craters, and absolutely ragdoll most of the ants on Jeju Island. Honestly, regular ants are getting turned into paste. But here's the wild part. Netero's real firepower comes from his 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva. Every single hand strike is hitting within city block level force, and he can throw thousands of those strikes per minute. We're talking about a non-stop barrage of hits that can overwhelm anything in front of him. And we need to remember, Netero's defense is good, but he's not in... Normal ants probably can't hurt him too much, but Beru's big ass claws, those could do some real damage if they actually landed. His real defense is dodging everything with that crazy speed.
And if we're talking stamina, Netero's no slouch. He's out here throwing thousands of punches a day like it's nothing. He maintained high-speed combat for minutes against Meruem, and the only reason he couldn't keep it up because he was an amputee victim by the end of the fight. If you put him on Jeju Island, he's gonna be clapping ants all day without breaking a sweat. But let's get into the real meat of it. What about his ultimate move, Zero Hand?
A better name for this would be the fucking delete button. Yeah, this move's a whole different level. Netero's Zero Hand releases all of his life energy into one massive death beam. When he used it against Meruem, the strongest threat in Hunter x Hunter at the time, it actually did some damage. And given how durable Meruem is, that's a feat and a half. And if I'm being real, Beru ain't just walking that off like Meruem did. No chance. Zero Hand would basically give Beru a handicap spot and some VA benefits, no questions asked. But here's the catch. Once he uses it, he's done. Completely drained. And at his age, he most likely would have a hard time recovering mid-fight.
So, if Netero does use it, it would most likely be wraps for Beru. But if Beru is still breathing or something else jumps in while he's recharging his Windows XP ass, he's in trouble. Basically, Netero is built for this raid. His speed and firepower are more than enough to crush almost every ant on Jeju Island. Beru would be the only real challenge for him.
So let's see how he really stacks up when he jumps into it.
Alright. So picture this. Netero pulls up to Jeju Island via helicopter. His main goal is just like that of the other S-rank hunters. Kill the ant queen so they stop reproducing and the rest of the ants die off. As Netero is descending from the sky, there's a pressure in the air. As soon as he touches foot on ground, ants start to swarm him like zombies, thinking that Netero is easy pickings. And honestly, if I saw some old ass man in a tight ass jumper, I wouldn't be scared either. But Netero is not just some old ass man in a tight ass jumper. He's that old ass man in a tight ass jumper. These motherfuckers aren't even worth his warm up. But of course, Netero doesn't know that for sure yet, so he uses this initial matchup as a test of their strength and his. As soon as they get close to Netero, he begins throwing hands with them. Netero's punches are around large building level each, all moving at an average speed of Mach 50, just enough to kill the ants when landing hits to critical spots on their body, as shown on the screen here. He isn't able to defeat them all with just a singular punch unless the punch is imbued with Nen and lands a perfectly placed strike.
He then decides to test his main ability, the 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva. He gets into that classic pose and then boom, it just materializes out of nowhere. The moment it shows up, it gets to work, firing off 16 hits per second, absolutely eviscerating basically all the ants on surface level. I mean, these ants are supposed to be bulletproof, but Netero's turning them into Fortnite spray cosmetics. And the crazy part is, he and his abilities are so fast that it is beyond their reaction time and processing capacity. They're like, okay, threat detected, wait, God, fuck? Netero slowly descends down the volcano, same route the S-ranks took, but due to his speed and power, he is able to pile drive through like all of the ants there. See, Netero's physical speed for most actions is around Mach 40 or under, but his 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva moves extraordinarily fast, basically around Mach 250.
Needless to say, with this attack one-shotting the ants mirroring survival IO, he is able to breeze through a good majority of the nest, and he only really slows down once he reaches the queen. He feels completely intimidated by its aura, along with the swarms of ants, and reluctantly flees to take a breather. Fuck no, are we serious? This is Netero we're talking about. That motherfucker shreds through the defense like paper. The queen doesn't even get a final line. Just a bitch slap and her existence gets painted across the walls.
So that was seemingly easy enough. Queen's dead, ants can't reproduce, all is well. That is, until he senses an aura. A strong, pungent aura. He turns around, and Beru steps out of the shadows. Netero's basically clowned on everything up to this point, but now he's got a real fight on his hands. And if Beru's power is anything like we saw in the last video, Netero's about to find out he isn't the only boss on this island.
Okay, this is where the real show starts. Beru is out of the shadows. He ate his mother and gained information on what Netero did to the colony of ants and his mother. Beru is full of hatred and he bolts directly at Netero. I mean, even without the regeneration or ice manipulation from the S ranks he consumed, this guy's raw power and speed are still insane. Even with all this though, Netero is matching him blow for blow, especially since he's using his Bodhisattva, and I mean 16 hits per second minimum, all moving at blistering speeds, all directed at the target. That's hard to fucking beat.
And that proves to be the case as the fight goes on, as some of the cleanest hits from Netero's attacks are causing some serious dents in Beru's exoskeleton. And you can tell he's starting to feel it. Like every hit Netero lands is taking a little more out of him. But this motherfucker's built different. His durability is off the charts, and he's not even slowing down that much comparatively.
Speaking of slowing down, Netero is feeling it too. This man is a beast, as y'all already know, with speed, strength, and durability off the fucking chart, but he's still human, and an incredibly old one at that. Fighting at this level for so long is taking an incredible toll on his body. The 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva's hands are starting to slow down, just a bit, just enough for Beru to notice.
And as soon as he does, he cranks up the aggression, throwing even heavier strikes, and then, boom, he breaks through Netero's defense and lands a clean slash across his chest and shoulder. Blood is pouring out, and Netero's like, damn, okay, shit, fuck. But it's not over. Before Netero can seal his wound, Beru follows it up with another strike to Netero's left thigh, and now Netero's stumbling. He's clearly in immense pain, but this is Netero. He has the willpower of pedophiles after getting caught by Gideon, thinking they can still lie.
But then, there's a shift in the air. All eyes are on Netero now as he halts the attacks of the Guanyin Bodhisattva, only to clasp his hands together and say two words. Zero hand.
The pressure in the air rises exponentially, and the tension is palpable. Not even a second after, an ominous roar erupts from the nest. Netero's entire life energy, unleashed in one apocalyptic explosion, pointed straight at Beru. It hits him and tears straight through his body. When the blast finishes, Netero lays shriveled and bleeding, his age and injuries finally showing. Beru, looking no better than him, was blasted into the wall, his wings decimated, exoskeleton partly charred, melted, and broken, with internal organs completely jarred.
He coughs as his green blood sprays into the air. His body was crippled. He commanded the ants, "Finish it!" Netero is powerless to stop them from ripping him limb from limb. He lays defeated and awake as he experiences each excruciating bite ripping through his flesh and bones, tearing his tendons and ligaments apart. This was the end of his life, and he knew it. He thought to himself, at least I completed my mission. At least the queen was dead. The ants will die off in a year, just like the association said.
As these thoughts crossed Netero's mind, Beru lay defeated, his broken form trembling beneath the weight of his failure. The bitter truth echoed throughout his mind. Power means nothing without purpose. His hunger for dominance, the mindset ingrained to him to surpass all life, had led to nothing but ruin. He had lost his speed, he had lost his queen, he had lost countless of his brothers, and he had lost his dream. The charred remnants of his superhuman exoskeleton, a testament to his arrogance. No longer a conqueror, but a prisoner to his own broken flesh. And as darkness closes in throughout his once promised kingdom, Beru's final moments were not of victory, but of the emptiness left by a dream never fulfilled. All right, if you like that video, please like and subscribe because we got a lot of ideas like this that we're working on probably right now. So if you want to see more, as always, stay tuned. Subscribe.